Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dies Cast. I am Russell S.A.N, and with me I have.
Fishman.
Well, last we left off, Aquans and Jonas had finally reached the edge of the forest that marks the beginning of the Elvish domain. They encountered a relatively bizarre tableau upon arriving at the edge of this forest. Some druid who seemed to be either driven to the point of insanity or under some unknown influence was using his magic to attack a very old and apparently respected treant at the edge of the forest, and several elves and other druids were attempting to prevent him from doing so. After a brief combat, it came to the party's attention that this elf had come under the influence of some sort of cursed artifact. A literal crown of thorns, which seemed to be capable of driving its bearer to do unspeakable horrors and torture them to the point of insanity with immense pain. After several rounds of what we will call a game of cat and mouse between our party and this druid, we managed to separate the druid from the crown by means of a remove curse scroll. This did not, however, prevent the crown from trying to attach to someone else, and in a short period, the party was forced to uh, chase the crown and force it back into the underground area which had originally been discovered. This proved to be a challenge, but they managed it in the end and won the respect and hospitality of the druids, who let them stay the night with them at a feast of celebration. In addition to this, the druids provided our party with a guide towards the capital city of the Elvish Dominion, which they now find themselves in. As such, our long journey to reaching this fabled city is coming to an end. And that's where we'll
Yay.
pick up.
Cool.
So, well, the next morning after all those events, we're fully rested, and we're already on our way because we set off last time.
Hey.
So we've changed our spell lists around if you want, and you said you were going to attune to the Ring of Spell story because the Ring of the Ram hasn't fully recharged yet.
Yep.
All right. So it's a nice spring day, height of spring. We're halfway through it at this point, almost
Yeah.
towards summer. So
Yeah. That's, I mean, we got an escort, so we don't have to
yes,
worry about any kind of political nonsense getting into the city.
we don't
We
have to
have
worry about
things.
any survival checks. Nope, because have a guide,
Yeah.
which is a first time experience for us, really.
Yeah. We don't have to worry about anything. I mean,
Yes.
if you're not safe with a Sylvan druid going through the Elvish forest,
Would-
there's something really wrong in the world.
Yes. And it is indeed a lovely spring day as we're walking through the woods. Now, it is a long walk, we'll say,
Yeah.
because apparently the city is in the heart of the forest and we were near its edge.
Yeah. Might take more than a day.
Well, he seems confident that he can get us there in one day.
Okay. Can we keep up with them?
Yes, we can. Yes, he is a wood elf and he is a druid, so he does move faster than us.
Yeah, I bet. Sorry, I was going through all the stuff that I need to buy now that we're actually going to be back in civilization again.
Yeah, we're likely going to get some downtime, so we've been building our lists for that.
Yep, I was a little tardy in fitting mine together, so.
All right,
All right.
so we're about halfway through our journey to the city, apparently,
Yeah.
when we stop for basically what amounts to a short rest.
Okay.
And that's when something catches your attention, but you're not entirely sure what it is, as it almost feels like a faint hand on your shoulder, as I need you to make a charisma saving throw.
A charisma saving throw.
I will
What
just
do
double check, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is, yeah.
that is horrible. Oh, never mind. Hopefully, this is not a waste of a natural 20.
Natural 20, you say?
Yeah.
Well, yep. It's like the lightest, most gentlest touch on your shoulder you've ever felt. And that's it.
Do I feel any inclinations, presences? I look around.
All right. A moment later, you see me looking around as if I noticed something else.
You too, huh?
Yes, that was a little unusual. I felt something there. I'm not sure what it was.
Ask the druid. He knows what's going on.
So you don't want to look around then. You're going to ask
I
him.
am. I'm doing both.
All right. Well, let's roll for the perception check then with my assistance and start there.
Oh, another bloody natural 20 ways. This is not good.
Two natural 20s back to back.
Yeah.
Yeah, for those who are curious, my saving throw was a 13.
Oh, so it wasn't that high.
No. All right, so you look around and you see some really fast, almost blurring of motion or disturbance in the forest, as if something moves by, but you don't see anything moving in the spaces where you see the motion. You just see its effect.
And our druid guide has any opinion of what this is?
It says, it's just some of the local forest protectors coming to see you. You're both strangers in these lands. I imagine you've not gone unnoticed, and some of them are just coming by to see what's going on. It says, it's nothing you need to worry about.
So I shouldn't worry about that saving throw I had to make.
Right?
Hmm?
Sorry? You were
I
saying?
said I shouldn't have to worry about that saving throw I just made. So I literally see nothing, but I see the passage of something
Based on
I
your
see.
perception check there with a natural 20, you think you saw something invisible moving through the forest and through the air, as far as you can tell, and you saw the areas where it disturbed the. Despite its invisibility, you rolled incredibly high.
I'm going to ask you if you think it's worth blowing a second level spell slot to see if there's actually something worth worrying about here.
I can indeed cast see invisibility if that's what you want.
I mean, actually, no. We should probably just trust our guide.
All right,
Like, it's
so we're
not.
not going to do that then.
No, I mean, it's not like it might be insulting for us not to trust him.
Yeah.
Actually,
Besides, whatever was that was meant to happen didn't work on both of us.
yeah. But I didn't feel any particular thing I was trying to fight against.
Uh, you can roll an Arcana check now that you a moment has passed, but you can try and roll to see if you determine what it is.
Well, the natural 20s have gone away. Um,
That's good.
yeah. 17.
17. Uh, it was similar to a magical effect that it feels like almost like an intrusion on your thoughts, but it was different and it was much subtler and not as invasive.
Someone was trying to read my mind.
No, it's a similar effect, but it's different. It's different, but it's different in a very discreet way. But you don't quite understand it. It's different than the Detect Thought spell, you're pretty sure. First of all, that doesn't require contact. And you
Yeah.
definitely felt a slight touch on your shoulder.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a similar sort of effect. Someone was trying to discern something about us through a touch,
Okay.
and some form of magic was employed. You know that.
All right.
Yeah, so you don't think whatever it was harmful.
Well, don't know because it was ineffective.
Yeah, but that's what you can gather from that roll.
All right.
I will also say, in the time before we finish our short resting and then get to continue our walk, it does not occur again.
I'm gonna do an insight check on our companion here.
All
See if
right.
he, like, do I think he's being truthful about this being nothing important? Never mind.
Well, he rolled a natural 20 on his part. So yeah, he seems quite trustworthy.
Yeah, very trustworthy.
And what did you roll?
Uh, 6.
Yeah. Insight's wisdom, remember. So
Eh, doesn't matter.
yeah.
You roll bad, you roll bad.
All right. So we continue, and we are probably getting relatively tired by the end of this journey, as we are walking basically almost for a full 8 hours.
Mhm. Okay.
But as we come across basically what initially looks like just a clearing in the forest.
Mhm.
And then we step forward as our guide gestures do so. As we enter the valley, we feel almost like we're passing through a veil of some sort. A feeling we've had in a.
An illusion.
You can roll an Arcana check if you want. In fact, I'll do so as well.
Ugh, natural 20s are gone. 16.
All right, I rolled. I need to put my proficiencies higher in my characters. I rolled an 18. So we
Like,
do see we do pierce through the spell, but barely with those rolls. But as we're passing through it, it's a very familiar feeling we had not too long ago when we encountered an enchanted valley that had
yep.
a large glamour cast over it. Ironically, this is probably smaller than that one. But we pass through it, and you can move ahead to the next image as we come upon the Elvish city, Elvish capital city.
There you go.
Yeah. And basically, as we're stepping forward, we're at
Yep.
a path which is down at the bottom of the image by the gate there.
Okay.
And there are high spires, green and white architecture, marble. This seems to be the main stone being used here. And a couple steps ago, this was not there, basically.
Well, I guess they
And
don't want to be found.
yep. Well, when it's the last uh, fortified settlement of your people, I guess you get a little paranoid.
Hidden Valley of the Elves.
Almost exactly, yeah.
Yep.
So, as we pass along, we pass through here, we see, well, obviously, the massive city and the massive high walls and towers.
Um, we've seen, well, the bumpkins that we are, we have now seen a sort of city of Vern's Run and a real city of Lyria.
Yes.
How does this compare in size?
It is smaller than Lyria,
Oh, okay.
mostly because Lyria was the large fortified city on the waterfront and also expanded outwards.
Hmm.
This is probably of comparable size to the fortified section of the city, but you
Okay.
suspect it's still a bit smaller.
All right.
As we pass through the Vale, we also see that there's areas that around here that's definitely there's been a mix of illusion magic and what looks like just natural camouflage to hide the city in the forest.
All right.
And yeah, some people could probably just pass by the city and not even know it's there. And we are brought up at the bottom of the image. There's a gate, which is the only gate into the city.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah. And we are our guide is walking up to basically. No, actually, there's no one on the gate. It's closed. But he's talking up to the basically. There's a parapet above with the two towers there. You see, looking
Yep.
up over, and there are elves in that in both those towers, and they're looking down. And there's a conversation in Elvish happening at the moment.
You know Elvish.
No, I don't, but I do have tongues prepared.
I don't cast tongues. That's kind of a waste.
I do not know Elvish, no.
No, I thought you did for some reason.
No, I know Gnomish.
Oh, well, I know Halfling
Yeah.
for obvious reasons. Okay.
Yes, but in preparation for coming to the Elvish capital city, I did prepare tongues.
Okay. Just in case you want to carry on a conversation.
Yeah, and if we need to eavesdrop.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna just go off their body language.
Yep.
They seem to be responding relatively benignly.
Yes. There's basically it seems just to be a conversation going back forward. There seems to be a look of recognition when our guide gestures to us, and there seems they seem to be understanding. Well, I think they've been word's been sent ahead to expect us.
Uh, okay.
Looking up, we can see, and probably for the first time we've ever seen this, is the elves up there seem in these two towers seem to represent the three main divisions of the elvish people. There are wood elves present, like our guide here. There
Yeah.
are high elves present, and even more possibly also surprising us, there are dark elves present.
A nice sunny spring day. I don't think the drow are gonna be too happy.
Their uniforms or whatever they're wearing seem to have hoods built on, and they seem to have these almost like goggle-like
Yeah.
objects around their eyes. But nevertheless, yes, they seem to be all three Elvish people seem to call this city home as they make a gesture and they say something in Elvish, and then we hear the sound of some levers being pulled and some gear working chains as the gate opens up to us.
All right.
And our guy gestures us in, and it says, "And this is where we shall part ways."
All right.
Says,
I
"I wish
shake
you
hands.
two the best of luck on your journey."
Thank you very much,
Yeah,
and best of luck with you.
yeah. And we enter the capital city of Eventine, the Evening Star.
All right.
So we finally made it here.
Yeah. Been a while.
They did.
I finally get to get my component for the spell I got in preparation to go in Vern's Run
Yes.
and couldn't cast.
So we are basically handed off by from our guide to almost given like an escort at this point.
Yeah. Oh, maybe it's some more ceremony we have to go through.
Clearly, we are basically just going to be escorted to an area where we can basically spend the night or spend our time where we want. Basically like an area where there is occasionally the city does receive visitors.
All right. So
We're
there's
going to be
no.
escorted to an area like that. Basically, we have done them a great service, but we're not getting an audience with the three speakers, as they're called.
Oh.
So we are given a bit of an information about that. So this city is basically this ancient city is the last fortified city of the Elvish people since the fall.
Yeah.
All their other cities have basically fallen by the wayside by this point, except this one. And all three major subspecies of the Elvish people, Wood Elves, High Elves, and Dark Elves, live here in harmony.
Uh, Not so sure with that last word, but that's okay.
They came together to basically fortify this, which is their last hope for all intents and purposes to maintain their people. So they had to put aside some of the old issues among their divisions of their people, let's say, in order to make this possible.
Yeah. Well.
We do know from what they're describing, though, the city was originally a wood elf capital because of its positioning, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, in short order, we're able to learn a few other things as we're being escorted. We're basically given some information.
Yeah.
The city is home to approximately 12,000 elves.
It's a lot of elves.
Yep. And as you can see, the city is both a fortified and a hidden city.
Any other peoples live here besides elves?
Uh, Not permanently.
I guess we're only welcome for a short while there. Jonas and Aquas have to get out soon.
And it is ruled over by the three speakers. And there's basically one of them is appointed, and this council of these three speakers, one for each of the Elvish peoples, has basically say over everything that needs to be done in here. Basically, they're like the governing body.
Yep.
And we are basically shown to, well, it's not really an It's not an inn, really. It's almost like a guest house in the city for all intents and purposes that we're allowed to stay in.
Yeah, if you don't have visitors, you don't really need an inn.
Yeah.
All right.
So
So
basically,
we're gonna be billeted.
sorry,
We're gonna be billeted,
I'm not quite familiar with that phrase.
like an exchange student kind of thing, where you're just living in someone's house.
Effectively,
Hmm. Okay.
basically, we are given like access to almost like a small apartment to to spend our time here with,
Alrighty.
and we have a feeling we're being shown this honor mostly because that we've done them a service already.
Yeah, I'm sure they've got a rundown on what we did.
Yes. Needless to say, it was not a minor feat that we did for them,
Yeah.
and it's we were feeling that a considerable amount of decision has been and discussion has been made in the meantime since our on our day's journey here. We are tired though, so we're not going to say no to this.
No, of course not. I mean, hey,
Yeah,
I'm quite happy to have had the escort.
yeah. So basically, it is an apartment. We are basically left to our own devices here.
Well, let's go find a place to eat.
Yeah. Well, there is basically facilities here in this apartment if you want to use those to cook food, and there has been food
We are
provided.
going to go find a really nice restaurant where we can go eat.
Okay. The other nice thing about this is we don't actually have to pay for this place. So staying here isn't going to cost us anything for
All
the
right,
moment.
let's go find someone who knows what they're talking about and find a good restaurant because we've been eating our own food for a while.
All right. That sounds like it'll be an investigation check with my assistants. We'll
All
make it.
right. Well, apparently I'm really motivated for an investigation that's 24.
Yeah. Not quite as motivated probably as we were stepping off of our plane in Tokyo after that long day of travel. But
That was
probably,
28 hours. This is only 8.
yeah, probably the next best thing.
Yeah.
All right, so we do find a nice, well, basically it is a restaurant for all intents and purposes.
Yeah. The elves need to eat too.
Yes. And they don't turn us away or anything. You have the same feeling that word has traveled pretty quickly about us.
Are we garnering any attention, especially the blue one?
We both are probably for the first time in a long time. You are also guarding attention because you imagine humans are roads. Well, they're humans may be the most numerous race in the world,
Yeah.
but they visit here so infrequently. There are some elves, particularly some of the children, who probably never seen a human before. And yes, a water genasi almost always draws attention. So,
They're
but
unique.
yeah, but it's new. It's a new experience for you at least.
Yeah. All right. Wave to all the kids.
Yeah. Well, elves are not. Children are children everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're curious and naturally and just instinctively excited to see new things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any shops that sell like uh, pastries or candy?
Quite possibly.
I'm gonna buy some and just hand it out to the kids as I go along.
All right, fine. So you said you wanted to find a nice restaurant.
Yeah,
That
high end.
that also translates to expensive.
Yeah, I don't care. I want
Yeah.
good food, not
All
my
right.
food.
So we basically go to basically what passes for a restaurant. Obviously, they don't translate quite one to one.
Yeah.
But yes, we basically can buy food there to have. You can have it cooked up and stuff, and we can sit down and eat it.
All right. Someone else is cooking it. I'm
Yeah,
sitting down being served.
yeah,
I call that a restaurant.
yes. And this time
Okay.
we do have to pay, unfortunately. But it is a nice meal. Basically, it is well a kind of a typical example of Elvish cuisine. There's bread, there's cheese, there's fresh fruits and vegetables, and there is the stew, which has basically other vegetables in it, and basically meat from one of the most recent hunting expedition that went out in the forest, because elves are hunters.
Okay.
Yeah, contrary to popular belief, what a lot of people try and portray them as vegetarians, it's not very easy to survive on a vegetarian diet in the world,
Yeah.
except in modern civilization. No,
And
the
even then,
elves,
sometimes
especially
not.
the wood elves, are natural hunters.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah,
So how much is this fine meal setting me back?
for both of us, it's going to be 3 gold pieces to get total.
All right, I'll pay
Basically, a
for it
gold
because I
and a half
wanted it.
for each. Yeah.
Yep, that's fine.
All right. And it is nice. And they do offer us a variety, option of beverage as well. I assume we're going to want some sort of herbal tea. They do have, these are elves, they do like wine, which is probably, to be fair, it is probably weaker wine than what most humans drink. But
Tea is good.
yeah, basically, their city is probably sustained by what they can grow and what they can hunt in the forest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's fine.
They
I'm fine
probably
with
don't
tea.
get a lot of foreign trade as much.
Oh, I'm sure they have people who go out and do
Yes.
trade, but
But
they
this
probably
isn't this isn't like Vern's Run, in which it's on a crossroads and
yeah
trade comes in and out, or Lyria, which is at the end of one, which is another major capital city, which we're probably comparing it to.
yeah.
There is a difference.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So we're able to get a nice meal,
Yep.
and we can wander around the city a little bit. We're being left to wander around unless we specifically need an escort or a guide. But you know the fact that we are also probably being observed and watched.
Well, I'm gonna wander around,
Yeah.
try to get the feel for where everything is, because tomorrow we need to do some shopping.
Yes, but we both are in agreement that that is something that can be left to tomorrow.
Yeah. No, this is mostly just being a tourist.
Well, the good news is, not basically far from where our apartment is basically a shopping district, almost like a town square style shopping district that we can go to.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. So we are tired. We're probably pushing exhaustion at this point if we weren't, if we would, what we would be if we weren't, you know, in a city being able to sit down and rest and eat and things like that.
Yeah.
But if we were still marching, we would be forcing constitution checks.
Oh, I'm fine. Stroll up to where our apartment is.
Yep.
And even though this is supposedly, a safe place,
Yep.
we're gonna do everything we normally do.
Yep. All right. So familiars, alarms, and your hut.
Yep.
All right. Well, it's not like they can complain about us doing that.
Well, they're not gonna even know about it.
Yeah. They've basically done that to their entire city.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take first watch while I digest.
All right. So roll your perception check.
16.
All right. Not much happens. It's basically this city is almost as close to being part of the forest as you hear various sounds and see various sights that you would see in a forest, which is kind of incongruous because we're in a city.
Yeah.
But yeah, we hear animals chirping, birds flying through the air, crickets, the
Yep.
occasional wolf howling in the distance.
Yep. Sounds very peaceful.
Yeah, the only thing that comes out slightly odd to you is you notice that there's almost like this very faint and very brief, almost like tremor or vibration.
But I think the tremor is natural.
Roll a nature check. This is going to be a very high DC because you basically notice it, you know, something shaking, you put your hand to the ground, you feel a little bit, and then it's almost gone.
Oh, well, I have nature, but that's only going to come up to a 13. I rolled really bad.
Yeah, with that roll, it's very hard to tell. It
Hmm.
was very brief.
Well, when I wake you for your part of the watch, I'll mention it so
Yeah,
that you keep an ear or feel out for it.
sure.
But
And then you turn in.
yep,
And now I will roll. right? All right. So the night goes by, and we wake up in the morning.
Cool.
So I inform you that I didn't notice any tremor or anything like that in
Okay.
during my watch. So whatever it was, it happened very briefly.
Yeah. Whatever it was.
Whatever it was.
All right.
All right. So it's the dawn of a new day.
Time for shopping.
Yeah. Time for some downtime on our part because we went to great efforts to get here.
Yeah.
All right. So we're basically probably going to have what amounts to about a week of downtime in the city.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have to go through all of that every all 7 days. So we're going to
Mhm.
montage that a little bit.
All right. That's fine.
All right. In fact, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to just say this now, because I have the materials on my hand, and because we're just getting here. It'd be nice to relax. I'm going to use the last little bit of ink and paper I have for transcribing, and I'm replacing that remove curse scroll that we used.
Oh, yeah. I finally got to use that.
Yes, and if those types of cursed magic items are going to be in our world, probably going to be best if I replace that.
Well, I'm pretty sure that was a pre-fall cursed item.
Yes. Nevertheless, we only it was the only one we have, and it's either that or prepare the spell all the time. So I'm going to use the last bit of materials I have. I'm going to actually cast enhance ability on myself for intelligence for the first time
Yep.
because I have we have had some issues with scroll making recently.
Yes, you have.
Yeah. And then I'm going to roll with advantage to transcribe it.
Wait, no portent?
Oh, I could have done that, but I just decided to use enhance ability instead.
All right.
All right. Well, I rolled an 18
Yeah, that's fine.
plus 5, so that's 23. So yeah. Basically, it's going to take the majority of the day for me because it is a third level scroll, and it'll
Yep.
use the last of my materials, but I can replace the scroll.
Okay.
So, what do you want to do on the first day?
Well, seeing how you're going to be busy,
Yeah.
I'm going to try and find a. I think probably the best bet would be a jeweler.
All right.
I'm pretty sure most elves will have a inkling of what I want this thing for anyway, but I need to go find a place that I'm looking for a place that can actually make these two items that I need.
All right.
And you're gonna need one as well. So
Yes, but at least for the moment, I'm going to be working on the scroll just to take it easy for the first day here. All right. So,
okay.
go ahead on the image here. Move ahead one
Oh,
image.
you have an image. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So, this is a close approximation of what the basically the town market square that was we discovered earlier.
Okay.
And this image up here, the one with the jewel on it, at the top there, that small building,
This one.
yes, that is a jeweler.
All right. I go in.
So you can go in, yes.
I tell him I should introduce myself first.
Yes.
Does he recognize the name? Like, has he heard of us?
There is a look of recognition, probably because you're the only human in the city.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I'm not sure if you're familiar with spell components, but I need two items made, and then possibly, well, actually, definitely a third one. But my friend's not with me at the moment, so for the moment we'll just work on the two that I need.
All right.
First, I need a sunburst pendant for the spell Dawn.
All right. I'm going to that he says he might have to confer with one of the local wizards or alchemists on exactly this, but he is very also familiar with what he can do, and he thinks he can get it made at the very least.
Okay.
If he
Yeah.
can't, he can at the very least act as liaison to the person who can.
Okay. And the other thing, like, well, first off, what will that cost me?
All right, well, what does the actual item cost? Do you remember that? Oh.
That was a long time ago. I think
Well,
it's
I
five.
wrote down all the ones I need.
I think it's 500.
All right, Dawn. No, it's 100 gold pieces. You're
Oh, it's cheap.
massively overestimating the cost of that.
Hey, and ask him roughly what that would cost me.
Well, all right. Well, he's willing to put that one. Okay, he's basically willing to let the basically have that made around 100 gold pieces. He understands what these things need to be,
Okay.
but he also is curious about what the second is.
Second one's much more expensive. It's a figurine, a representation of me
Yeah.
for a spell that I'm researching for next level called contingency. So that, if I remember correctly, is 1,500 gold pieces.
Yes, you are correct. Just considering how tiny the thing is, it's a statuette of yourself carved from ivory and decorated with gems.
Yeah.
So that is again something that he can obviously do. He's much more familiar with the this sort of thing because it does fall more into his artisan craft, basically, even though it is used in magic.
Right.
There's no actual spell casting that needs to be going into this or magical research. He just needs to make it. So,
Okay.
yes, that is easily done. It's going to take some time, he says, because there needs to be a great deal of detail on this one, and it's
Yep.
basically it's almost like you're going to have to sit for a portrait.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
You obviously I need to stay here and you need to take at least some sketches or something.
Yes. So that is going to be so he's uh basically given the time required and uh, he's basically saying since he heard of the fact that I'm here too and he's probably going to need one
Yeah.
that he's probably going all right so that's 1,600 at the moment and he's probably going to for the two items you want we'll
Yep.
cover mine well I can cover mine basically
Oh yeah.
yeah and he's basically going to add another 100 gold onto that just for the time required to craft these things for both of our items.
All right.
So that's 1,700 just for your two things
Okay.
to start with.
Well, I will have nothing else to do for the moment, so I will have a seat and
Yeah,
he can take
he's
all the
going to get
sketches here.
started on this sketch work for you at least.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's what I'll do today.
That's basically
Actually,
what you're doing
yeah.
while I'm working on the scroll.
I assume it's not going to take 6 hours.
Well, it has to be a pretty detailed sketch, but no, this is going to take the majority of the day for what you're doing, basically. This all
Yeah.
activity, and you had to find the place too.
All right, so that'll be my day.
Yes, so that'll be our first day. So, are you going to mark off the gold you have for that? Because you can pay him now, obviously.
I will give him a deposit.
Yes. All right, fine.
I wrote down how much it is.
Yes. All right. All right. So those two things. All right. All right. So the
Okay.
next day on my list, the things I want to do is, well, replenish my supply of ink and paper for transcribing because I have some new spells that I'm going to want to possibly, well, basically copy into my spell book. One of them is from
Yep.
your spell book because, again, we're planning for the future here a little bit.
Yep.
And I'm going to also want to add just an additional 1,000 gold pieces worth for future scrolls because we tend to go through a lot of materials for ink and paper for that.
And another thing that we haven't really talked about much, but making scrolls now is getting much
Yes.
more involved.
Yes. From this point on, sixth level scrolls and up, it's no longer this we decided it's no longer the same as just transcribing a spell into our spell book. It's going to take for sixth level scroll, it's going to take 3 days for full days worth of work.
Yeah.
And it's going to take a full 1,200 gold pieces worth of materials.
Yeah.
So technically speaking, with the things I'm picking up, I probably won't be able to work on a a sixth level scroll with that.
What we're gonna need to do is we need to go find a magic shop.
Yes, so someone who supplies things with that, and yes,
Yeah.
there is basically it's just kind of like a it is a magic shop essentially. It deals with alchemical stuff and magical supplies and reagents and spell components. So you actually might have been able to get the Sunburst pendant here.
That's fine. I don't mind giving the other guy business too.
Yeah.
All right.
We obviously don't have the statuettes necessary for contingency. We do have to have those made.
Yep.
So at some point today, we'll stop by and I'll get mine commissioned as well.
All right. In this magic shop,
Yes.
does he have obviously ink and paper?
Yes, he does.
What what kind of supply of it does he have?
Uh, well, obviously there are a few wizards in the city. So,
Probably. It's a bunch of elves.
yes. Probably not to the same extent there were in Lyria.
Well, yeah, it's a
Yeah,
whole academy of them
yes.
there.
That is one of the other reasons. At least a few members of the city, especially some of the younger elves, choose to go there to study instead of staying here.
Yeah.
But so he has a good amount of supply for it, so we can meet our needs, provided we're not just like wanting to buy like the entire shop. That sort of thing.
Possibly between the two of us.
But basically, it depends on what we want, basically, because but
Right.
he's relatively confident in his abilities to supply us.
All right. How many greater healing potions do you have for sale? And how much are they?
You know what the cost of a greater healing potion is.
Yeah.
All right. Well, he currently has 5 for sale.
All right. Well, as soon as the last time we're going to be able to buy these for a while.
Yeah, and you are out of materials to make them, I believe.
Well, the other thing I was going to ask if you
That's
have,
going to be the next step, I believe.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I have 4 graders at the moment. How many do you have?
0.
Ah,
You've
all
used them.
right. We're going to buy all 5.
All right. So greater healing potions are 150 gold.
Yeah.
He's not marking them up because they're expensive enough as it is, and we're buying all of them.
Yeah.
So,
The other thing, Mandrake root.
well, this is an elvish alchemist we're talking
Yep.
to at the moment. He does have some.
Cool.
All right, let's see. This is usually a D4, and that's a 4.
Excellent.
He has 4 average size mandrake roots for sale.
I'll take all 4.
Yep. So that's another 200 gold on there for those 4.
Yep.
Obviously, we suspect he might have some other things on like held on reserve for emergencies and things, but this is what he's willing to sell. You know, the
The
usual
other
supply
thing,
and demand situation. That's more
yep.
than enough for our needs, I think, though.
Yeah. I also need some fine familiar components.
All right. So that's a very, very, very common spell component. So there's that on hand. If that's
I only need 2 sets because I've used them up recently.
all right. So that's 20 gold.
And the other thing is, I would like to acquire 1 or 2 of the Crystal Summons creature figurines. I don't know if he's familiar with those.
All right. That's going to be a roll. Um, you don't see a look of recognition on his face when you describe that to him. He doesn't have any of those in stock.
All right, I will not worry about that then.
You do have your spell.
Oh yeah, I know I can cast the spell. This was a
Yeah.
bonus action that was kind of nice.
Yeah. All right. So I'm also going to pick up 3 sets of the Fine Familiar. So that's 5 in total for us, which is fine. That's a very easy to come by spell component for the most part.
Yep.
It's very popular among young wizards, so
Oh yeah.
it keeps enough of that in stock. All right.
300, 200, 5 times 150. That's 450.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
So I also have a few scrolls I want to pick up for spells. So So I'll start with the replenishing my supplies of ink and paper. I need 600 gold pieces necessary for transcribing the new spells I want, and picking 1,000 up in addition to that. So 1,600 plus on top of the 30 gold I spent for the herbs, incense, and charcoal for Fine Familiar.
Yep.
And I want to pick up the following spells. One of them is Resilient Sphere, which is in your spellbook, so I don't have to buy that. I
Yep.
just copy it straight from you. But I do need to pick up three other scrolls. The first is Ice Knife, because the spell did interest me and I wanted to add it to my spellbook there, and I failed.
Okay.
So it's a first level scroll. It's slightly. It's not one of the most common spells, but it does. But I can get a scroll of it here. The other two are very common but high level scrolls. High level scrolls. One's when you think about it, is Hold Person, because every single time I try to capture someone or to detain them with sleep or web or something like that, it goes wrong
Yep.
somehow. And I'm also picking up Hold Monster because it didn't seem right in my mind to pick up one, not have the other.
Okay.
So yeah, so I'm adding a total of 800 gold pieces onto that.
All right.
Yeah,
So, ink and paper.
that was what I just said. Yes. Oh, for you. Yes. How much do you want?
Well, just to make this up to an even 4,000 that I'll be spending.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, we haven't reached the end of my list yet either, and it's going to.
So that's three.
We're going to be burning through a lot of our gold here.
So that's 1,350 gold pieces worth of ink and paper.
Yep.
There you go. So it's 50 per sheet, right?
Yes.
And vial. So there you go. That's it.
So it's just yeah. It's
Are you doing the math? Are
I'm trying to do the math. Yeah, it's fine.
you? That's seven plus another
I
10.
think it's just shy of 28 pages of ink and paper. I keep track. I don't do that conversion. I keep track of it in gold piece value. So
It's 27.
yes, I was like just shy of 28.
Yep.
All right. So needless to say, we spent a lot of money there, more than we spent anywhere in a considerable time.
Yep. I dumped the money on the counter. Feel a
Yeah.
lot lighter.
Yep. And I also there's a few other spell components I want to pick up here.
There is. Oh
Yes.
yeah, that's right.
So we'll go off to deal with the statuette after
Right.
this because it's not it's just across the street.
That and I don't need to do anything.
Yeah, I do though. So I'm going to pick up four more doses of the powdered diamond and incense for Glyph of Warding because we both seem to like casting that spell now, and we're down to our last vial.
Yeah, it does come in handy.
Yes, it does. Occasionally, I need a hemispherical piece of clear crystal and a matching hemispherical piece of gum arabic to cast Resilient Sphere.
Yep.
Yep. So I'm
Oh,
gonna
don't forget you also need all those little glass beads.
I'll get to that. Yep. I need a small straight iron needle for hold person and hold monster, same spell component at least.
Wow.
Yeah. And yes, there's going to be a few other things here. We won't. I need a bag of 100 glass beads for a future spell I'm working on.
Yep.
And the other two things are probably not going to be something I can acquire here. We'll have to get it commissioned. One is the statuette, and the other is a special ointment I need. But
For that rash.
no, it's a spell component. Again, for a future spell I'm going to be working on
All right.
for next level. But we're probably going to have those commissioned. He doesn't have those last two on hand, so I can purchase everything else here though.
All right.
So we'll be working on that for the over the next few days. For those last two. Obviously, we can go get the second statuette commissioned now. And
Yep.
right. So
The only other thing I need to do is replenish the food that we ate for the last couple of weeks or so.
yes, so you are ready to hear how much my downtime materials and research and stuff is going to cost?
Sure.
4,300 gold pieces
You
total.
you spent 300 more than I did.
Yes, I tallied it up in advance. So I know it's going to be paid over the course of this week in various installments and things, but I've just written it off my character sheet now.
Yeah, that's fine.
And yes, you want to resupply on our food.
Yeah.
Probably the easiest thing that we're going to be getting here.
Yeah, travel food.
Yes.
Because, we are going to be heading towards the facility.
Well, yeah. The Dracomir,
Yeah.
whatever it is, whatever facility. We don't actually know what's on that island, but we do know it's an island supposedly in the middle of the lake, at the edge of this Elvish forest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that was what it was called.
yeah. Well, that's what they referred to it
Yes, it's
as.
been referred to that. We've heard it referred to as that. We don't technically know what it is yet, but some sort of facility, which the court seems to use as a threat for its own sorcerers to keep them in line.
Yeah. So we're heading there.
Yes.
So,
The name piqued our interest, and we found out it was near this Elvish city, so we will probably be heading there at some point.
yeah.
Yeah.
Once we get restocked, basically.
Yeah. All right. So, yes, food. I currently still have 23 days worth of food left.
Yeah.
We
Just refresh.
will refresh it. So, yes. How much do you want to pick up?
Well, I always carry, for some reason, I wrote down 56 days worth of food.
That was the last time we left Lyria. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just going to keep it at that.
Well, 56 week is 8 weeks. So, yeah. All right. Yeah. So, 8 weeks worth of food.
Yeah.
We're buying quite a bit of food there, so that's probably going to be a little expensive.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's say 25 gold each of us for each of us.
Sure.
We are buying a fair bit of food from them. Even less gold now.
Yeah.
All right. The good news is that's the majority of things I want to buy.
Well, that's everything I want to buy. The
So
only
that's
thing
everything I
I
want to
can't.
buy. So now we just need to have some rolls made and stuff. So how are we dividing up those potions you bought, first of all?
My potions that I bought?
Yes, the 5 potions you bought, yes.
No, my potions that I bought?
Yes. Are we dividing this up or are you hanging on to all 5 of them?
Well, that makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
Um, I give 4 to you, and I'll keep one of them.
All right.
You seem to need potions more than I do, which is weird because I'm usually the target of everything.
Well, your new ring is helping with that.
Oh yeah, I love rings of protection. I tell you.
All right. So, again, to keep the montage going, over the next 3 days in between sitting for our statuette and thing, I'm going to, sorry, 4 days, because that's the number of spells I'm going to be copying spells down to my spell book.
I'm just going to be wandering around playing with the kids.
Yeah. So I'm going to be using enhance ability for all 4 of these.
Yep.
So, Ice Knife is a success this time with a natural 19
It would have been funny if you messed it up again.
with
Right.
advantage. Well, I'm not sure if funny would be the right word, but yeah.
Yeah. Go back to the shop. I need another one.
Yeah. All right. The next one will be hold person.
Yep.
Oh, that is low, but I get to add my spellcasting ability onto that, so that's fine. It was an 8 though.
Uh,
It does. I do succeed. That's fine.
yep.
I don't have to roll for Resilient Sphere because I'm just copying from your spellbook.
Yep.
So the last one's hold monster.
All right.
That's another natural 19.
There you go.
It's only a 5th level spell. So I have those 4 spells added to my spellbook, and I'll actually update my actual spellbook at some point off screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm going to be adding those 4 down.
Cool.
And yes, it's probably going to take a little while for the statuettes to be finished.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's
And
something that requires a lot of detailed skilled work, and we're asking for two of them.
yeah, that's
But that's
fine.
perfectly fine since neither of us can actually cast the spell yet.
No, this is research for a future spell.
Yes. We're just getting this here because, well, this is the best opportunity we have at the moment for getting it, other than just going all the way back to Lyria.
Not gonna happen.
But one thing we can do here is,
Actually, that's kind of funny.
yeah,
Technically, we can.
we can, yes, because we do actually, in point of fact, have the runes for this teleportation circle. Because when we acquired the spell in Lyria,
Yep.
we were able to learn two teleportation circle coordinates. One was for the circle in Lyria, and the other was here because this is basically an old ally of Lyria's. So they knew the runic coordinates.
That's actually one thing I want to do while you're doing all your scribing, is I want to go to whatever passes as a magical academy here, introduce myself, and ask permission to be able to use their teleportation circle if necessary.
All right. So you are basically shown to the the high elf wizard who is in charge of both running the academy and that teleportation circle.
Yep.
Who is actually one of the three speakers.
Oh, wow. So I get to meet him after
Yeah,
all.
Fenyor Alder River is his name.
Pleasure to meet you.
Yes, he is an old elf. Like, like he looks old.
So he's old, but he's an elf as well. So he's been around since, dawn of time kind of thing.
You suspect he probably would have lived through the fall.
Yeah.
So he's probably elves tend to start looking old like after 500, even sometimes 600 years, depending on how they've lived. So yeah,
Yep.
he's an old elf.
Cool.
Yeah. So once you realize that you explained that you managed to, first of all, get the teleportation circle spell, and you have the runic coordinates for this circle, which you received from Lyria, who
Malzra.
Malzra himself, yes. That is not a minor thing because he obviously knows Malzra. The two are probably in communication with one another to a certain degree from time
Yep.
to time.
Helps the name drop every now and then.
So he understands the situation, and he understands that we are someone who, at least two people who have gained garnered amount of trust in what he sees as an old ally of Eventine and the Elvish people. So after some, it's a bit of a conversation.
Yep.
But basically between the two of us, we're able to convince him of allowing us to have access to the teleportation circle. Basically, there are a large number of trusted individuals in Lyria already who know that, and the fact that we're being counted among that number goes a long way towards us being allowed to use it. Plus, what we did for them.
As as the conversation goes on, do I get the feeling that Malzra has been talking to him about us?
Roll an insight check.
Gee. Oh, I rolled a 19, so plus one, 20.
Yes. You have the same feeling that he has heard of us. Yes. And Malzra does seem the most likely source, you
Okay.
suspect. You suspect Malzra probably has been keeping an eye on us to a degree and knew the direction we would be heading, and maybe would have had a polite word with the basically head of magical learning in the city on our behalf.
Cool.
Yeah. Elves are can be pretty inscrutable, but you think you have a pretty good idea of that. Also, that it gives you a pretty good idea of what this Mr. Alder River, Master Alder River, is
Yeah.
kind of like if he's on good terms and speaking terms with Malzra, whom we know.
But one of the days that I'm not doing a whole lot,
Yeah.
I'm going to cast Sending, and I'm going to talk to Malzra and let him know that we made it to the Elvish City and have been introduced to Elder River, you said?
Alder River, yes, Alder,
Alder River. And
as in like alderman.
yep. And yeah,
Yeah.
Say hi.
Yes. So obviously you only have 25 words with which to, unless you want to cast it multiple times.
Well, I could just cast teleportation circle, go there, have lunch with them, then cast
Yeah.
teleportation circle and come back.
That is another thing. How are we for materials for that spell?
We don't need it with two permanent ones, do we?
I think we still need to cast the spell. That's a tough one.
I
I
only,
think
I thought you only needed the,
well we do if we ever want to draw the circle. Uh,
yes.
That's fine. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Um, do we have any components?
I don't have any on my character sheet.
All right, better get some.
Do you have any on yours?
Nope.
Okay, so we've used all up then.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Or we didn't get any.
the main time we teleported was from Lyria to Vern's Run. I think that's the only time.
And that time, Malzra set it up. He
Yes,
did
the
the
spell was
casting.
cast for us. I think we were made sure we had the spell, and I was pretty sure we had some materials. We may have forgot to write them down.
What? All right. What is the cost of it anyway? Just and then we'll pick up some extras.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes this spell seems like it's more trouble than it's worth. It's 50 gold pieces worth of rare chalks and inks infused with precious gems, which
All
is fun.
right. I'm gonna spend another 100 GP. Getting low now,
Yes,
and I get two sets.
yeah.
We don't cast it often.
No, we've never actually we have not cast it.
No.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, in fairness to us, we only picked it up at it's a fifth
How many are
level.
you picking up?
I'm gonna pick up two because it's a good idea to have.
All right, I will pick up the same. So we have four uses of that spell.
Yeah. That's the problem when you're a wizard. There's so many things you need to keep track of.
Yeah, and this one isn't one we can get away with. I literally looked at the spell. We'll have to have that conversation off camera at another time, whether or not we need it for using a permanent circle, because it literally doesn't say. That as
Yeah,
part of the spell, you draw the circle, but that's when you're casting it.
yeah. I don't know. I would say no. Yeah, I have nothing written down at all. So many things. All
Yeah,
right, that's fine.
yeah. We'll leave that for the moment.
All right. If that is the case,
Yeah.
I will pop over to Lyria, have lunch with Melzra after letting him know that I'm coming, and then
Okay.
pop back, fill him in on what's happened in the world.
Okay.
Because you're gonna be busy writing scrolls. There's nothing for me to do.
Yeah,
Not
so
even,
you're leaving me alone in our apartment to work. Well,
yeah.
while you teleport off to have lunch with an archmage.
Yeah, jet setting over, having lunch in Paris.
All right, fine.
Get set back. Well, I mean, what's the point in being a high level wizard if you don't get to travel every now and then?
No, but yeah,
So I'll cast sending one day, let him know ask him what day is good for lunch, and then
yeah,
I'll pop over, fill him in, pop back.
yeah. Also, during that time period, while in between all the spell research and the sittings for the figurine,
Yep.
I'm going to also talk to that alchemist slash magic shop owner, and I'm going to start getting the ointment made, which I need to be made from mushroom powder, saffron, and fat.
And what's the last one?
Mushroom powder, saffron, and fat. It's like
Oh, fast.
yeah, it's like the grease for the ointment.
I assume that is something that you rub under your eyes for some reason.
Because I just did this. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a spell called True Seeing that I'm researching.
Hmm.
I need 200 gold pieces worth of that
Yep.
made because it's another spell that requires a material component that is consumed.
Yep.
All right, so I'll set that in motion.
Okay. And
So
that is absolutely everything.
that is everything that'll be happening over the week of downtime that we are undertaking here.
Yeah.
All right. We also obviously go about and ingratiate ourselves in the city a fair bit during that time.
I'll bring you back a doggy bag for my lunch with Balzer.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so
We'll just talk to people and
yes. So basically, after our week of downtime here,
yep.
there is one other thing. Does we do notice
That's that.
there is like halfway through the week,
Sure.
we do notice there is another one of those tremors.
All right. I've been kind of paying attention to these.
Yeah,
Do I
this one's a
have
bit longer and a bit more intense.
okay. Nature check, you said?
Yes, we can both make nature checks, or I can give you advantage. Your choice.
Exact same roll. No
So
better.
not very good then.
16.
16. All right. It's a bit longer this time. We notice it, both notice it, and clearly a few other people have as well. But it could just be like a minor earthquake for all we know. We're just feeling it in the distance.
Yeah.
But from that roll, it's not easy to tell.
All right. Hmm.
All right. All right. So,
I have a suggestion.
what's that?
On a day that you're not too busy writing, contact other plane,
We can try contact with our plane.
just in
All
case this is something important.
right. We'll say this happens near the end of our downtime anyway, just because we're pretty busy throughout all that.
All right.
No. Basically near the end of the week that we spend here.
Yeah.
You want me to ritual cast contact other plane?
Yeah. Or
All right.
cat. Doesn't matter.
Well, I don't usually prepare it, so it's a ritual spell, so I can just cast it that way while we're sitting in our apartments.
Sure.
All right. So I conjure the blue fluid glowing eye, the the opposite of the way Sauron is portrayed in the Peter Jackson trilogy. Even though he's literally at no point in the book is he ever described as such.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know.
Anyway, I conjure that image that the spell conjures as I contact the other plane or intelligence.
Yep.
So we have 5 questions.
Yep.
What do we want to ask? You do realize that if you ask, are these tremors that we've been feeling something we need to be concerned about, is a yes or no question, but it may not necessarily tell
Yeah,
us what we want to know.
5 questions.
Five
All right.
questions.
The two tremors that I've felt in the last week, are they from a magical source?
I have to. All right, let's see if this thing we're talking to understands what that is and knows. The answer comes back potentially.
Is the source malevolent?
All right, it's a short answer this time. As you would define that term, yes.
Is the city in danger?
The danger can be averted. I said, interesting. It was speaking in future tense there.
Is this danger imminent?
Yes.
Yeah, any questions you want to ask? Oh, actually, I have one.
Well, with the fifth and final question at this point, so if you want to ask it.
Is this danger subterranean?
Yes,
All right,
the spell ends.
let's go and did you make a roll or use a portent?
Oh, right. I will use the portent, which is I haven't been peek behind the curtain here. I wasn't rolling a bunch of new ones for those 7 days there, so I'm just going to use the 15 I had.
That's fine. I'm gonna re-roll them every time.
No, otherwise I have to be re-rolling them all the time. I mean, technically it could have worked to my advantage to do that, but I was preparing enhance ability for that,
Yeah, that's fine.
so that's fine. Which in case everyone's wondering, I would have unprepared at the end of all of that downtime.
Yeah,
Going forward, that's not important. All right,
we
so
need
that's
to
all
go,
done.
let's go talk to somebody.
Yep.
Alder River.
Alder River is someone we are on speaking terms with. We may not be able to get a hold of him as easily as last time, but yeah, I imagine he does have a lot of things to see to in the city.
Yep. I'm gonna find someone, a page, a bureaucrat, clerk,
Anyone?
whatever it takes to go and find him. There's something very important happening,
Yes.
and it's urgent.
Yes. In fact, your question was it urgent or was it imminent? What was one of how you word it?
Is this threat imminent?
Imminent is the word. Yeah, you use the word imminent.
Yeah. No time to waste.
So we pack up and we head out.
That was packed up a week ago.
You know what I mean? From I had to pack up from the ritual I was casting.
Oh, yeah.
So we are heading basically through this this little part of the city, this little town square that we've been frequenting.
Yeah.
When there is another tremor, much
Okay.
larger than before.
Nature check.
Well, before that happens,
Oh.
uh, yeah, dexterity saving throw to keep our feet.
Oh. All right.
Yeah, uh, that's a 17 on my part.
I'm higher than that, so
Yeah, so we both keep our feet. Several other elves in the city don't, as basically, uh, the ground starts to shake violently, and in fact, we can see cracks forming in the street.
well.
Yeah. In fact, in short order, if we move ahead
Uh-oh.
an image,
Oh.
there is a crevice or chasm opening up, and there is a dark purple. I couldn't find purple on Incarnate. Vapor coming out of this crevice as we are basically keeping our feet and seeing this happen, and the ground is still shaking. And this is where we're going to take a break.
All right.
All right.
Cool.
So we'll be back here in a few moments to see what is going to happen now that our downtime is over. We're back on the clock now. All right. We'll be back here in a few minutes.